Welcome to Private Club Radio, your weekly source for industry education, news and discussion. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
Hey, it's a great day in Tampa Bay. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping and the world keeps on spinning, and I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Remember that any adversity you are facing, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I've got your back. So if there's anything you need from me, you let me know. That's the promise I'll make to all of you who listen to this show. So feel free to reach out to me anytime you want. My number, 813-482-5392. That is my cell phone. And if you send me a text, WhatsApp message, call me, I'd love to talk to you anytime. So, well, anytime that I'm awake anyways. But just want you to know you've got someone in your corner. If you think you don't, you do. So you have an open invitation now. Consider that your invitation. Now, another thing I wanted to mention, some ways that I'm trying to help people out there. I'm going to be starting to do these LinkedIn Lives, and I'm going to be doing Ask Me Anything sessions. Let me see if I can pull up my schedule, because I'm trying to put together a content creation schedule. And I should be doing LinkedIn Lives going forward on Tuesdays. And what time did I choose? Tuesdays at 10 a.m. So if you have a question, Tuesday at 10 a.m. is the time to get it answered. I don't care what question it is. Throw whatever you've got at me. Throw me the kitchen sink. Whether it is membership related, marketing related, technology related, anything, golf related, anything that I can answer, I will be happy to answer live for you and the LinkedIn community on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. That will start not this week, because this is still the last week before my kids go back to school, but that is going to start the week after, which will be, 2 weeks after. I apologize. So the week of the 31st, Jeez, I'm all messed up. Who else is messed up, right? Like, all my schedules are completely turned around. I don't know what day it is anymore, hardly. Luckily, we have a calendar. I'd be really in trouble. The week of the 24th of August, from then moving forward on Tuesdays on LinkedIn, I will be doing Ask Me Anything sessions. It'll last as long as it lasts, but it'll start at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That is your chance to ask me anything that you want to know, and as long as it's within my power, I will find you an answer. So I think we'll have some fun with that. I am going to be doing a lot of things. As you know, I'm shaking up this show, and I made that announcement a couple of weeks ago. But there's good news, actually. I've sort of found the path I'm going to take with Private Club Radio, and the good news is this show will not be going away. Okay, so I know a few of you reached out to me asking me if the show will go on, and yes, it will go on, although it is going to change, and I will make that announcement in the coming weeks on how things will change. Well, we have a fun guest for you coming on the show. Martin Cody of Cellar Angels going to talk about his virtual wine tastings, which have been a huge hit at clubs across the country these last few months, which makes a lot of sense because people aren't showing up in person to their clubs like they used to. And unfortunately, a lot of clubs had to cancel in-person events. So he's providing a very, very needed service, and we're going to talk about that and some other fun stuff here on today's episode. Now, Martin is a featured act on our new website, the Club Talent Hub, which is the virtual marketplace where you can go and search and find the top talent in the club industry, people who can create a virtual event for you. Once in-person events happen, it'll also be your place you can find in-person entertainment. So whether you're looking for a comedian, a magician, a health and wellness expert, someone who can do yoga with your members online, someone who could cook a recipe and do a presentation on food and wine, those are all things that can be found on the Club Talent Hub. Now, here's where I need your help. I'm trying to build out this directory in real time right now. So we're actively looking for the best and the brightest entertainers from around the country to be part of this. People that folks in the club industry have already vetted. You know, the folks that really blew your members away at different events. Again, could be a myriad of entertainers, authors, speakers, anyone who can provide good value for members across the country at private clubs. So if you've got someone in your stable of people that you've had come to the club who got rave reviews, those are people I really need to speak to. And I'd love it if you could set up an email introduction, my email being gabe@privateclubagency.com. And I'd love to speak to any of these folks and make sure we can get them listed and help their businesses, because there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry, musicians, actors, comedians, people that are out of work right now, people that can't perform live, that used to be able to perform on a stage in front of hundreds or thousands of people, and the rug got taken out from under them. And I know the feeling. All my speaking engagements have been canceled, of course, for the last year, and that's a big revenue stream for me. And it also leads to more book sales, and my whole business is predicated on speaking engagements, so I can feel the pain that these people are feeling. So there's a lot of people that need it. If you would be doing both me and them a favor, as well as members across the country and this industry as a whole, if you could put me in touch with them and show them the Club Talent Hub, the website, so easy to remember, clubtalenthub.com. It has a nice rhyme alliteration thing going on there. So let them know about it and put me in touch with them. Would love to speak to them. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on Martin Cody, and hopefully you enjoy this chat. All right, my guest today, I'm joined by Martin Cody of Cellar Angels. He's been on the show a few times to lend his wisdom to us about the wonderful world of wine, which we all love, no matter if we're members, managers, or anywhere in between. So Martin, welcome again to Private Club Radio, man.
Gabe, thanks so much for having us. It's always a delight to catch up with you, and we really appreciate the opportunity.
We spoke early in the pandemic. I think it was like March, and we talked about virtual wine tastings and bring more and more clubs I saw kind of come online with some of these things. Tell me about how it's been for you guys and what you're seeing out there.
It definitely has had an uptick, and I think the March, April, May timeframe really saw a lot of activity as the rolling shutdowns, if you will, were kind of starting to increase across the country. The summer months saw people and some of the restrictions kind of get a little bit relaxed. And so more and more people were doing things outside. They were doing curbside pickups, but we've already seen an uptick now here with regards to people planning for the fall. And especially the luxury virtual tastings that we do are starting to resonate with club managers, F&B folks, because they're just so incredibly unique and they aren't able to be replicated.
I love the concept. So, I mean, basically people can go to your website. They can order this in advance. Like the members can go order their, 6 packs and things like that of different varietals. And then you come on and give them a 1 hour or so presentation. Talk to me about how it happens logistically.
Logistically, it's great because we get a club usually reaches out to us and say, hey, tell us a little bit more about this. And we have a conference call with the GM or head of food and beverage. And we walk through all the logistics and specifics, and we custom curate a kit of wine, 3 bottles, 4 bottles, 5 bottles for their membership based upon kind of the members' tastes and what they view as the most popular varietals. The neat thing about these wines is the wines are all from Napa and Sonoma. They're all exclusively limited production wineries. You can't get them at the club. They aren't in a distribution channel. And so there's a specialness there. There's a scarcity aspect that they only would get these wines if they were actually out in the valley or on the winery's private mailing list. So these are typically higher end wines. So we'll work with the club. We'll put together a custom kit. We send that link out to the club. The club shares it with their members. They then have a somewhat limited time to order because they have a pressing date of when the event's going to take place. Those kits all get delivered to the member's house. And then you're right, we do about a 60 to 90 minute, pretty deep dive presentation into the wines and where the wines come from. It's not a couple of good surprises basically is that we also will have winemaker cameos. So we'll invite a winemaker on to talk about his or her wine. So it's almost as if the club member is actually in Napa or Sonoma sitting down with the winemaker and learning a little bit about the wine. There's a really cool Google Earth flyover, which people love to actually drill right down to see the exact vineyard location of where this micro producer sources their wines. And when I say micro producer, these are limited production. Oftentimes these wines are only made in case allotments of 100 or 200 or 300, very, very small high-end stuff. and then we just move on to the next wine. And it's really a very entertaining, very engaging. We take a bunch of questions, and people are sitting at home, relaxing. The member gets a terrific experience of wines they would never be able to access via the club. And it's just a fun way for the membership to be engaged.
Sounds amazing. And to have the winemaker right there to answer questions, that would be pretty special. I mean, that's something that you couldn't get in a live environment. I mean, what are you going to do? Fly these guys into every, seminar that you're or tasting that you're doing. So that's one of those things. It's like the pandemic has been kind of interesting in terms of allowing opportunities that didn't exist before. What other things like that are you guys doing that are interesting during these sessions?
We started every Friday night. We do an event called SIP, Shelter in Place, where we actually invite a winemaker on and we interview them. That's completely outside of the club virtual tastings, but that was as a result of the pandemic. And you're right. As far as the winemaker cameos, it is pretty exclusive. And these are never the same event twice, because we work with each club to curate wine specifically for their event. So we've seen a lot of cookie cutter approaches out there, but very similar in a form and fashion to why people actually join a specific private club. There's unique attributes there. There's the way they're treated. It's the golf course. It's the dining room. It's the whole ensemble of what makes that experience special. And so that's the type of meticulous planning we bring to every one of these events. It's never the same event twice. And that resonates with a lot of private clubs because they're in the business of giving their members an unbelievable experience, and we help them do that.
Yeah, the world we live in, everyone wants something bespoke and crafted for them, tailored just for them. So that's really cool that you're doing that. So you're moving actually from Chicago down to Florida here. Tell us about why you're making that transition.
I think it's high time where I go to where the weather suits my clothes. And it is a welcome move. I've lived in Chicago all my life. We live downtown Chicago right now. For everybody that knows the city, we're 12 blocks from Wrigley Field, 6 blocks from the lake. We've been here 17 years. The proximity to Wrigley as a longtime Cub fan has been fantastic, being able to walk to games. And now it's a little bit disheartening because while there is baseball, the stadiums are empty. So that's a whole new world out there. And there's really nothing keeping us here. And we love Florida. My spouse and chief operating officer for the company is from the South Florida area. So it's high time we got back to a place to where I can golf 12 months a year, and not have that 6-month layoff where the swing just goes all to heck and I can't improve. So
that's exciting.
We're looking forward to a move, very much so.
That's very cool. Do you think you'll still be getting to Napa as often, or Sonoma? Because you're going there a few times a year, right?
We were. It's kind of tough. They've started to allow some more visitation to the wineries, which is great. And really this fall is going to be kind of a turning point to see how well all of us can kind of flatten this progression. And the minute it does show some signs of relaxing, we're going to be out there. The flight will be a little bit longer this time around and probably not direct. But we're looking, we go out 4 times a year. We've been doing that for over 15 years, which is why we have so many good relationships with the 1,500 plus wineries between Napa and Sonoma. And that's the neat thing too. When people get out there for the first or second time, they're amazed at how many wines there are that they've never heard of, because these wines aren't distributed. So when you're looking at 1,500 wineries between the two valleys, there's a lot of opportunity to bring some special wines to the country club experience.
How has the pandemic shaped or shifted things in the wine industry?
It's been very damaging. I mean, decimated is for the small producer especially, because when you think about it, it parallels a lot of what the other industries have seen, whether it's the restaurant industry, the sole proprietorship, retail experiences, those sorts of things. The wine industry is really not that different. There are, as I mentioned, 1,500 wineries. Probably about 300 of them might be recognizable names because they produce hundreds of thousands of cases. The other 11 to 1,200 are not, because they produce much smaller amounts. And as a result of that, they don't have national distribution. So they are very reliant upon foot traffic. They are very reliant upon people coming to the valley, people dining, people going to restaurants, using the luxury limousine concierge services and getting exposure. And when you stop that, foot traffic, if you will, they feel the pain very, very quickly. There will be, I already know of a number of wineries getting acquired. I already know of a number just basically folding up shop and they just can't do it anymore. And you're seeing that all throughout the country in various industries. So they need us very badly, us as in organizations like Cellar Angels. They need individuals buying direct to consumer via the website, their website, so to speak. So that's kind of what we want to do. But yeah, the wine industry has been hit pretty hard. Very similar to what happened in 08 and 09 when there was the last global economic collapse. It just dried up. And so we have to figure out a way to get people out there, open up that valley again. And they'll rebound. They're pretty resilient folk. They've survived an earthquake in, I think, 2014. They had the fires of 2017 and now a pandemic. So it is not an industry for the faint of heart.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the other thing that folks may or may not know about Cellar Angels is the charitable aspect of what you guys do. So for the folks that don't know, can you explain how that works?
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning that. That really is kind of the piece that brings it all home. Sure, the consumer gets access to great wines they would never have access to. The winery actually gets in front of consumers that they would never be able to do unless they flew all over the country, which is cost prohibitive. But the nice thing about that connection that we make is that the byproduct of that connection, every time the consumer transacts on Cellar Angels, they get to pick from a drop-down list of charities, and we donate portions of proceeds to the charity they select. So we know, especially now in a pandemic, people are drinking wine, probably more than they were prior to the pandemic, which is fine. They're opening up better bottles of wine, which is encouraged. But why not get wine delivered to your door where you can check a box for a national charity and we give proceeds to that charity? So it really is kind of that three-legged stool. The consumer wins, the winery wins, and the charity wins. And we just want to see it grow. So it is something that resonates with a lot of our customers. They love the philanthropic component because they're mostly philanthropic themselves. So if they can leverage a buying behavior of wine purchasing that they're already exhibiting and benefit charity, it's just a win-win.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm really excited that you've come on our new platform, the Club Talent Hub, to be one of the featured acts, our featured listings. And we wanted to do that because I really do believe in what you're doing, Martin. Do you see these virtual things kind of sticking around even maybe when this pandemic is quote unquote over?
I do, actually, because of the convenience factor for the member and also for the club. And it's funny, we've done a bunch of these right now all over the country, from the West Coast, Louisiana. We did one out for a group in New York, very, very big group, Wisconsin, and all of the F&B folks come back and they said that absolutely blew away our expectations. That was amazing. They get feedback from their members because the member goes into it. And I think all of us at this time now have far more Zoom skills than we ever wanted to have.
Yeah, right.
And so they're getting used to doing some things virtually. So now that they can sit back and have a charcuterie tray, or the chef has worked in advance to put together some meals that maybe the members pick up at the club the night of the tasting, which we do work with chefs to do that. And they go home in the comfort of their home or their patio outside, and they get this detailed, fun little look. And we really bring Napa Valley and Sonoma to them. And it's very, very convenient. So I don't see this really stopping at all. Just from a pure luxury standpoint, it's a nice thing that the club can have in their back pocket to host one of these and really bring more members into the fold.
Well, as you know, I really believe in what you're doing, and I appreciate the good work that you're doing to spread some cheer to these members around the country that are cooped up in their houses. And yeah, I do. I think you're right. I think we're going to see a lot more of that persist well after the pandemic, because honestly, it's just it's a whole lot more relaxing, and you can still have that social aspect,
even the galas that are happening. I mean, a lot of our charity partners are reaching out to us because they aren't doing galas, they aren't doing golf outings, and so one of the executive directors of a charity said this is actually might be preferred because A, you don't have to wear a tuxedo, and B, you don't have to worry about your drive home. So
there you go. Yeah, that's a big thing, isn't it? Yeah. Unless you're going to hire a chauffeur, Uber or something. Yeah, that could be dangerous.
Absolutely. And I love, and we appreciate the support too, Gabe. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you, because what you do for the clubs as far as the membership side of things and helping them engage and helping them increase, and PCR, it has been a boon to us over the years. And we're really fortunate to have this partnership. The vines don't know there's a pandemic. They're still growing. They still need people to harvest. They're still going to need people to bottle, and they're still going to need people to drink the wine, pandemic or not. So we're going to try to help them with that. There are worse things in life than having to drink fine wine.
That's for darn sure. And hey, maybe things have even gotten better. I know we saw like the canals in Venice got all clear and everything. Probably without the planes flying over, the wine might taste better this season.
It'll be interesting, that's for certain. And you're right, there have been a couple of ecological improvements which were really mind-boggling, and hopefully they continue and we can build some momentum with that.
Yeah, I'll look forward to opening a bottle in a few years and seeing how it tastes comparatively to 2019.
Our pleasure to sit alongside you and do a vertical tasting.
Right on, Martin. Hey, man, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's great to hear from you. One last time, what's the website people want to reach out and learn more?
They can go to cellarangels.com, CellarAngels.com, and Cellar Angels is plural, and we will take care of everything, and we look forward to helping anybody put together a pretty luxurious virtual private tasting.
Private Club Radio is brought to you by Concert Golf Partners, helping to preserve and enhance private golf and country clubs. Visit concertgolfpartners.com to learn more about the recapitalization process.